on your personal development journey, then make sure you're also checking in with yourself to make sure you're doing some business development. And so I find it's like kind of like my role and my job to do the big business development and bring to you guys what I can. So it was so good. I've been on 3 trainings with her now. It's been a couple nights the last couple weeks, and we still have one tonight and we still have one tomorrow. She's going to be talking about engagement tonight, and she's going to be talking about IGTV live and reels on Wednesday, I think. But so far she's talked all about hashtags. She's talked about what content to post and all that. So I've learned a lot. I ended up upgrading to her VIP group, and I also ended up investing in her new Insta Club hub that she's coming out with in November. So I'll be able to give you guys a lot of material and the things that I'm learning, but I have some rules and some asks that go along with this. And so I get nervous to share this kind of stuff because one of my mentors told me a while ago that I shouldn't be training on social media because it's always changing and it's exhausting to keep up with. But I also know that I've grown my business on social media, and a lot of us are doing that. And I feel like I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't teach you. So when I upgraded, she did give us the slides. And rather than overwhelm myself and freak myself out today and like have this perfect little pretty plan for myself of how I was going to do this call, I might do a little talking, a little sharing, and I might go back and I might share some of her slides because I don't need to recreate the wheel. She shared everything. So the reason I was saying I have a couple of rules with this is sometimes like people push back on like training social media because we all do it different. And I want you guys to know you don't have to do anything. I am literally just here to share the research of what the pros know about Instagram. Chalene is definitely one of the tippity top marketing Instagram people. She basically obsesses and studies it, and she has the ins at Instagram. So there's a lot of things that she taught me. So also this morning in my personal development, I listened to Brendan, and I wrote this down because it went kind of hand in hand with the idea of growth on Instagram. And he said, growth happens through curiosity and exploration. And I have just felt bored. I've been doing this 7+ years. I just kind of felt bored. Like, how many times can I share my story or transformation, which, by the way, is still very important. But I felt like that's all I was doing. And it just kind of became, it wasn't fun for me anymore. And so my entire like pandemic / going through all my health stuff, I was like, this has to be fun for me. I just want to be able to go online and post whatever I want. I don't want to have to care about the aesthetics of my Instagram. I don't want to have to make sure it's picture perfect. Does it help to have amazing photos? And is that fun for me? 100%. But I just feel like I don't need to personally have every single post be like that. And so going into Chalene's growth boot camp, she started it by saying, you know, this entire boot camp is about teaching you how to grow, teaching you how to get new eyes, to get some new followers who relate to you, that are not bots, that are not spammy, that are going to stick around and start to engage on your content. And so the goal is growth. If at any moment when I'm sharing stuff with you, you're like, what about this? What about this? Just remember, it comes down to growth. I'm at 10,000 followers. I was at, I think, 11,000 followers. And I went backwards because my goal was repel marketing, actually, because I don't want a bunch of followers that don't relate to me and that have nothing to do with me. So it's actually been kind of a cool challenge for me to not care about my numbers going down, but I'm also ready to go back up. So Chalene's other rule was everything that you learn, just try it and test it out. If your goal isn't growth on Instagram right now, then you don't need to worry about any of this. It's all good. Maybe it's something, a tool in your tool belt that you know, try maybe later on, but social media is forever changing. And so my ask of you is that you stay flexible. And she asked me, when's the last time you changed? And she brought up this grid of like what Instagram looked like in 2017, what it looked like in 2018, 19, and 20. And it was super interesting to me. I asked last night in the team page for homework. I gave you guys a little homework before we came on here, and I said, tell me some accounts that you guys follow. And I pulled all them up for those who commented the handles, and it was so interesting to see that most of those accounts don't have a perfect curated feed of perfect photos and perfect this and perfect that. And so I also had so many light bulb moments. I feel like I've been hearing, is your content shareable? Is what you're sharing something that someone else is going to share? And how many times have we said that, right? And I feel like for the first time, it actually kind of made sense. So I'm excited to share that with you. But if you guys are taking any notes, this is somewhere where you're going to spend a little time studying yourself, noticing yourself, or your habits on Instagram. Start to notice what accounts you love. When this account posts, do you like all their posts? What accounts do you love? And write down a couple. You don't have to do it right now. Do this later, kind of homework stuff. What accounts do you share? And so I did a little study last night, and I went to some of the coaches that, waiting room. Some of the coaches that I love to follow within our team, and so many of you are sharing other people's content to your stories because you relate to it, and it's something that you want to share with the world, right? And so I started to take note of what accounts I love, what accounts I share. Do you guys click save and create collections on Instagram? Like when you love a post, you click save and start to create collections. If you don't, this is a really good practice for a couple reasons. You have to get to know yourself and how you're consuming Instagram. What post do you love? Some of the things that I love right now are educational posts, and it's not a pretty photo. It's like, 3 things to help avoid toddler tantrums or something like that. I'm not necessarily going to share that. That is not my niche. That is not my brand, but I have to start thinking about, is my content shareable in terms of what I have to offer? The other question she asked us is, when's the last time that you went to someone's page that shared a selfie of themselves and you shared that selfie? It's kind of rare. And typically it's coach friends. It's not like the people outside of our coach network, right? And so she said, what accounts do you love? What accounts do you share? What accounts do you save? And I went to my save post and I started taking note of the things that I've shared and that I've saved. So save that for later, but just wanted to tell you that. And this is kind of where it really stung for me, because how long, I've been teaching pretty photos, which again, you got to do. But for me, in my season where I want to grow, she asked us, she said, is the aesthetic of your profile more important to you for yourself, or are you here to help other people and to make new connections and to help more people? So if you make your profile aesthetically pleasing only to yourself, it's selfish, but if you make it pleasing and entertaining and fun and humorous, or if you're serving, if you're teaching, telling stories for everyone else as well as yourself, that's a much better growth plan. And then the last question is, am I delivering on my bio? So I think it was early this year. I know we have a lot of new coaches, but earlier this year, I did a whole team call on your Instagram bio. And I'm not going to spend time today. I'll just tell you guys really quick what she taught us. But the first thing for your Instagram bio is you need to have an up-close picture. It needs to be your face. And Shalene is suggesting, just because you are your brand, don't have your partner in it, don't have your kid in it. They can be in your other photos if you want, because you represent your brand. And when it's close up and it's a striking picture, when you're posting in your stories, that's going to help people probably click on yours. And that's personally why I chose a bright background, because I saw someone else do it and I was doing my homework, asking myself, what accounts do I love and what am I attracted to? And so I put my own spin on it. If you want a really sharp photo of yourselves without a background, if you go to Canva, I'll share my screen with you guys. This is a little trick she taught us. I was playing with it this morning. So let me delete these. Okay. So if I go and upload a photo of me, this was the first one. This is just for your Instagram bio, if you want. Just here to teach. You go to effects and click background remover, and it does it for you. It's freaking amazing. And then all I did was change the background to a bright color. And there I am. So in case you feel like
is this a
learn how people do that, I won't teach you because I was like, well, that's cool.
Can you hear me?
And then the last thing, about the bio. So your biography is meant to tell people what you do and how you help people. And it's important to kind of check in and ask, like, is the content that I'm delivering in my newsfeed, is that promising? Is it connecting and delivering on the promise of what's in your bio? So for me, I've changed it so many times. I'm still playing with it. But I had to kind of ask myself, like, what do I want to help people do? And what are my posts all about? And so helping the busiest woman on the planet master their motivation, because everyone always asks me, how do I master motivation? And I talk a lot about that. In my stories, I talk a lot about how I meal plan, especially right now with my new diet, with simple and yummy food, because I don't overcomplicate it. And so I have to always ask myself, am I delivering on that through my stories and what I'm sharing? She did say in your bio to be very specific too. Like, I put the busiest woman on the planet because everyone that comes to me tends to be the busiest woman on the planet, so they say. And so if you are in your postpartum journey and that's the person that you're going to help, I help postpartum mamas, or wherever you're at in your journey, whoever you're serving, make sure it doesn't just say woman, because it's a little broad. If you can niche down a little bit more and spend some time thinking about that, you'll be good. The other thing she talked about is credibility, and this doesn't pertain to you guys, but just like for accountability purposes for yourself, my credibility right now, I'm actually trying to build that new mindset profile. It's kind of a little pet project of mine to help show coaches that they can build a brand new Instagram profile from scratch. And I'm using everything Chalene Johnson's teaching me over there, and I'm really challenging myself. So you don't have to do that, but she did say in one of the lines to have a little credibility. So if you guys are, like, I know we have nurses, we have EMTs, we have teachers, stay-at-home mom, whatever your credibility piece is, try to add that in there if you can fit it, because it's going to help people relate to you and they're going to get to know you without having to read your posts. So nothing special, nothing different there. But the last thing is making sure that you guys are a creator or a business account and not a personal profile, because it's important for you to know your insights. So when I go to every single post right now, I can see the insights on my posts. And everything we're going to talk about today, nothing will help you if you're a personal profile, because you won't be able to see insights. And Chalene and Brock talked about the difference of creator versus business profile, and there's really not much. So they said, just pick whatever. I apparently was already a creator account. I didn't realize it. I thought I was a business account. So just make sure that you make that switch as well. I can see the chat going up, but I didn't know if you guys were asking anything. Also, Nikki came and visited me this past weekend, and we talked a lot about stuff, and I was like sharing some of the stuff that I was learning. And then I know Callie is also doing the Instagram boot camp with me too, and she's been learning some stuff. So you'll probably get different perspectives. I might have them share some stuff too. So that's just kind of like some of like the preface of what I want to talk about. My goal today is to talk to you guys about how people find us on Instagram and how people see our posts. Like, how do we get out there? I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and depending on time, I might save hashtags for another day, but I'm pretty sure that I can squeeze those in. They gave us a plan for that. So the goal of Instagram as an app, as far as the algorithm goes, is to have you spend as much time as possible on their app. Hence why they added Reels, because you can just get sucked in and scroll and watch forever, right? I mean, even before Reels, we were spending a lot of time on there. And so the reason why things like carousels, so a carousel is when you post more than one image and you swipe. And so when you guys do carousels, that has the person on your profile for a long time. Because if there's just one photo, double tap next. That's like, what, 0.5 seconds nowadays, right? But if someone is on your post, on your profile, and they're swiping right and you have 10, they're spending more like 10 seconds on your profile. And depending on which photo they like, let's say I have 5 photos and you swipe to the 4th one, and that's the one you double tap, that's telling Instagram which photo is being liked the most. You know, like, let's say photo number 4 gets the most likes because it's the most popular one. That's actually going to be the one that Instagram shows to people as they're scrolling on their social media. So carousels are good. They gave us, of course, Reels is ranking everything right now. They're pushing Reels. It's hot. I'm already starting to see a little bit of a shift. If you go to your explore page right now on Instagram, you will notice that, what is this? Probably like 45% of my screen is an Instagram reel and the rest is posts. 3 weeks ago when Reels came out, it was a big, fat, huge square and it was like 50% of my screen. And so they're always shifting what they're pushing out to you. So I feel like IGTV, live, Reels, anything that is shareable. Like if you make an IGTV that is educational and someone's like, ooh, I gotta share this, it was so good, that's gonna rank high too. Reels, we don't have insights on Reels yet. That's kind of like the one thing I think that's a bummer is they haven't given us insights yet, but I think Shalene's gonna talk about that. So carousels, again, more time on the app, more time on your profile. And let's talk about how do people see us and find us? There's really only 3 ways. And this is again for new growth. Hashtags, your location, and sharing. So think about how do you find someone's new profile or how do you go searching for content? Typically it's from a hashtag, a location, or because someone else shared it. So it's really important, I'm gonna try to squeeze it in, that we are hashtagging at least 28 hashtags on every single post. And I know for a fact I haven't done that for a long time, but since learning this and kind of playing around with it, hashtags are the way that we get discovered. And so I like want to hop into hashtags, but I'll come back to them. But the other most important one is the sharing. So let's talk about shareable content. So the reason I fell in love with the idea of what shareable content is, and again, that question that I asked is, when's the last time you shared a post or story or photo of someone else? Like, unless outside the coach world, because we share each other's content a lot, but I couldn't think of the last time. And so last night when I was scrolling through our team's Instagram stories, I saw you guys sharing funny memes, TikToks. I saw you guys sharing like silly dog stuff, like all stuff that you find, like something in your mind said, this is so good, I'm gonna click share and share it to my stories. And so what I fell in love with the idea is I don't necessarily have to come up with this content, right? So if there is a post that someone made, if you guys go to my Instagram, there is an app that you can use to repost other people's content that already is viral, that already is social proof that people like this, and it has to be relatable to me. This is literally something that I would say, this is literally something, a message that I would want to put out there. This is my most shared post, and it's the one with the ugly words on my profile. That pink one right there. 25 shares. It's crazy. It's so funny. And so I have the option to use someone else's content and repost it. I won't get into the repost app yet, but I'll teach it to you guys if you want. It's super easy. Or I can create my own image, write the words, and give the person the appropriate credit. The other thing that I've been doing when it comes to shareable content is if you guys go into your saved collections on your phone right now, this is so funny to me. All of my saved stuff is text. None of them are pictures of other people, right? And so I do have collections like food and things like that. So if you guys are like, I suck at taking food photos, but I want to share a good recipe or something that I made, you could literally reshare someone else's. No one gets mad when you reshare their content and when you are sharing something that has their name on it because they're getting exposure too. And so I feel like the idea of coming up with content is the #1 stressor for a lot of people. So spend some time saving some content that you're like, ooh, that's good. You can either choose to repost it as your own, or you can choose to remake it yourself. One example of what I'll remake myself is things that help with depression days. I'm not necessarily going to use this image right here, and they put a bunch of things that will help with depression days over on my like mindset profile, but I can do what my version is of things that help with depression days. And when we start posting stuff like that, people are going to start sharing it. And so you get to choose if you guys want to focus on like the growth aspect of what becomes shareable content. I've been going to a lot of people's pages that I love their content, like Trent Shelton. You know what's crazy? Like 90% of what he shares is like not his content. It's like funny viral videos. That's not going to be my vibe. I want to share more of the educational piece. And at the end, I'll give you guys kind of like a roadmap of how Brent helped me come up with content for it. But you don't have to come up with content. You can get ideas from other people. Either repost their content or remake it and make it your own. It's stuff that you're already loving, and it's stuff that you're already sharing. So right now, every single time that we're sharing other people's content, we're helping them grow. So why not give ourselves a chance to become shareable so that other people are sharing our content? And it kind of made me like seriously cringe when I went to my insights. So right now, if you're on your phone, if you go to insights, if you go to content and click see all for posts. If you go to your insights, you can actually, I think it's a good, to select the time period. I've been doing 3 months, and then I change the insight to saved. So I'm looking at in the last 3 months, sorry, not saved, I meant to say shares. In the last 3 months, what was the most shared post? Look at that. And actually, if I go in the last 6 months, what was my most shared post? It was that word one. I'm digesting word posts. I love word posts. I love text posts. I love quotes. I love all that stuff. And that's what we're sharing into our stories. But what's in the, like, people can't really find you from stories, right? You don't go to try to find people from their stories. Right now, you're searching hashtags and you're searching locations and you're just on the explore page based on their post. So you're going to become more discovered and more, you'll grow your Instagram with those posts. So spend some time looking at your most shared content. And what's funny is like it goes from 25 down to 7 to 6 to 4 to 4 to 4. And it's all my transformation posts, and it's probably you guys sharing them, which is great. But if your people were just coming to follow me, that doesn't necessarily help you, right? I know, it's so true. So I think like the biggest thing for me going into this was just like, been doing this 7 years. I've been sharing pictures. Right now, I feel like the environment on Instagram is like the idea of sharing a meme made me want to cringe. I'm like, no, I don't want to share that in my profile. And I was like, okay, I don't need it to be like a funny dog meme or a mom meme, which if that's your thing, do it, because that shit's viral. Already has social proof, and you can totally make it your own. Just make sure you give credit where it's due. That's the biggest thing. I forget what I was going to say. Oh yeah, just like letting go of this idea that, yes, I'm my brand, but I'm also a person, and I want to have fun on my Instagram. And I think it's so cool that it just so happens that if I'm sharing more content that I'm already sharing into my stories onto my feed, I get to relax a little bit, have a lot more fun, and more people are also going to be sharing. 25 people shared that. And I mean, I don't even think it was that great. Shout out to all the moms out there working hard to make the impossible possible, supporting other moms, staying positive, and showing up every day. You keep the world running. Like, that's the kind of thing that I feel, because Nixon has just been woosah this week, like, oh my God, crazy. And so I was just like, I just feel like I need to give all the moms the love. So I digress. I think you guys understand. But so when we were on leadership last week, Ashley Smith was actually teaching this, but I didn't grasp it last week because she talked about viral posts. I'm like, oh man, I got to share like posts of people running and falling on their face because it's funny. Like, no, that's not me. But Shalene did such a good job of explaining what viral means. Like, viral just means it has social proof that people are liking it and sharing it. And that's how things go viral, right? Because it's being shared. So find something that you relate to based on your brand that could be shareable. And I have so many ideas for so many of you. I asked Nikki when she was here, I said, what's the thing that you share about the most? And she was like, crystals, moon, like lots of PD. I'm like, that could be your jam, because your people are going to share the education that you're giving them on crystals, how to clear your crystals this Friday or Saturday, whenever the full moon is, like those are things that people would share because they're into that. Question, thoughts on how Raina does the quote on the swipe and her photo in the front? Yeah, so that's another thing. I already prepared for Candace's questions on this. You guys get to decide at the end of the day what you do with it. And I think the best thing you could do for yourself is test it. And just like for me, I had to ask myself what profiles I like, what I'm loving, what I'm sharing in my profile, and what my people would be attracted to. So that's going to look different for every single face here. You guys get to decide. And another awesome thing is, let's say you guys make a post. And I actually did it on one of my posts. I posted another word one, and it wasn't my favorite. Like, I was like, okay, it's good. It wasn't performing that well. You can actually archive it too. So this has 25 posts on it, and it's going to go down in my feed for a while, you know? So I literally could go back and archive it later if I wanted to. That's like a super bonus side tip, random. But you guys could still do your photo. Just make sure that in your post, if you're doing a quote or an educational piece, try to give people a call to action. You know, swipe right to see my thought of the day, or swipe right to see like how I make my acai bowl or whatever. And then try to remind them to share it with someone who loves acai bowls, or share it with someone, you know, like, and so just giving them a little bit more direction. I think about all the coaches like Raina. Who else was, Ashley Molstad. Ashley Molstad is very gifted in writing and content and the way that she curates her words. I mean, she went viral because Ashton Kutcher shared her story. Like, that's how good her words were. And so I think about a lot of these coaches who have gone viral, who have a lot of followers. Emily Favre right now, her shareable content is her daughter baking and doing, if you guys haven't seen it, it's super cute. So again, has nothing to do with their story, but it's something fun, and that's what we all need right now. And it has to do with her because, of course, like, and what's funny is it's bringing it back to a fix-it recipe at the end of the day. So I think you guys will have to play with it if you want to do your photo and do your carousel swipe second. If you guys are doing tips on anything, do lots of carousels. So have one tip. So one of the ones I made last night, rather than me just reposting everyone's content, I am recreating it. And so I did 5 things. So it's going to be things to remember. Oh, make sure I swipe the right way. And I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to have 5 tips that I was giving someone, things to remember. And so if you do the swipe, my suggestion would be to keep them on your profile longer, give them more options. You don't have to do it Raina's way if you want. Figure out what's going to work for you. Okay, for those who want the repost app, I can tell you guys why I like it. So the app is literally just called Repost. I did not download the Plus because it wants you to pay for it. So if you love a post, all you do is click the 3, this is on Instagram, you click the 3 little dots at the top of someone else's post and you hit copy link. When I open the Repost app, it automatically, I hate that you can't see it, it automatically saves it for me. So these are all all posts that I'm thinking about reposting. And the beauty that I have found about a lot of these is I also get to use their hashtags because they're good. And so you can copy the caption, make sure you read it, because sometimes it will say like link in bio, and that doesn't pertain to that post for you. So make sure you read it, make it your own caption. I can give that person credit, gives me ideas, and I also get really good ideas for hashtags. Can someone remind me, I have like 1,000 notes in front of me. I want to make sure I cover insights on hashtags. So hopefully someone can remind me. My palms are sweaty. Like if you guys could see how much armpit sweat I have right now. Yeah, it's crazy. So spend some time saving content you love. Spend some time recreating it if you want. Spend some time in the Repost app. I can't even tell you guys how easy it was for me to find posts I love and put them in this Repost app. And then on the days where you're like, I am not feeling it, here's your content. Actually, Amanda, I wanted to ask you, Amanda Pelton, are you a business account? I don't know where you are on my screen. Where are you? Are you a business creator account?
Mine, I think it's business,
Oh,
yeah.
I can't hear you for some reason. Can you guys hear her? You can? Oh, okay. Hold on. My music, every now and then that happens. If you guys have been talking, I haven't been able to hear you the whole time. So sorry. Sorry, Amanda, go ahead. You can
It's a
unmute.
business.
Business, okay.
It's a business.
Did you go and look to see what your most shared post was?
Yeah, it was like a random one.
I was
that
curious to
just
see because you did that one with the text in both sides of your face, and I feel like that's like a powerful message. And when Nikki was here, I was like, oh, I wonder how many people Amanda got.
Yeah, that one isn't up there. I thought it would be, but it's not.
Your feed is beautiful, by the way. Reels, personal development, but like this is definitely shareable content to me. So keep going with that. Side note, I just thought of that. I know Raina slays it. It's funny because like she's always said, make content that's shareable. Same thing with One Fit Coconut, Alexis. She was just here this weekend with us too. Like she has grown her account from shareable content, and whether it's her shuffling or her personal development crystal stuff, like her content is shareable. So don't lose sight of sharing your transformations. Don't lose sight of sharing pieces of your story. But I also think that we have to become a little bit more well-rounded in how do we grow on social media. So I wrote at the bottom of this, will someone share it? You know what I mean? Like not every post, I don't think everyone's going to share every single post, but you bet that every now and then I'm going to check in with myself and see, will someone share it? All right, let's do some hashtag fun. You guys, like, you feel what I'm saying, right? I don't want to like overwhelm everyone. It took me like a week to take it in. And then maybe Shalene was really good at explaining it. Maybe hopefully I don't suck at explaining it, but I was really trying my best to convey not only what she taught us, but how I think it applies to us. And I keep sharing, like, I kept trying to ask myself, how can I share motherhood on social media without it being just about me? Because I'm not a mom expert. I'm not like a, child behavioral psychologist or anything like that. But God damn it, do you guys know how many people are out there sharing like all the mommy tips that are actually helpful? And I started sharing that in my stories, and so many moms were saying, I've been trying it this week. It actually worked with my kid. Thank you so much. So a long time ago, we said, come up with your 5 passion points for this business. So when you look at your feed or the things that your brand represents, what are the 5 things that you talk about? I'll kind of guess, right? Fitness, nutrition, I'm like self-care, motherhood, and beauty. Like that's for me. And so my highest performing reel right now, I think is 3,314 views or plays or whatever that's called. And it was on beauty. And so whatever people are liking based on what you're sharing, think of how you can go find some other viral content to either repost that has to do with that topic, or come up with your own. Like the mommy stuff, I know I'm really going to test it. I'll be able to share tips, and I'll be like, share this with a mom who needs it today, who's just like ripping her hair out, and like probably 50 people will share it. And I didn't have to come up with the content. Another thing I'll say, if you're newer and discovering your brand, spend some time writing down your best stories. Think about if you went from never working out a day in your life to completing a 90-day program. What did you do? 3 things that I did to completely change my fitness motivation. People are going to read it. Maybe they'll share it, So if you're newer, discovering your brand, and you don't really know what your passion points are yet, think about how you went from where you once were to where you are today. It doesn't even matter if it's 3 weeks, 4 weeks. You have made changes in your life, and it's your job to share that with other people so that they can start to build trust in you and maybe try it for themselves. Workout with Abby Wednesdays. I need some shake. Hold on.
Hey, Colleen.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Can I add something? So I've been doing a lot of research on Instagram too, because I feel like I used to be really good at it and now I have no idea what I'm doing. And something I found in a lot of YouTube videos this week was, I don't know if you guys are aware, but they updated the community guidelines with what they are. They call it recommendations. It's what they are putting out, what they want to see more of, and what they are not putting out because Instagram does not like it. And I was really shocked by a lot. Like, they literally wrote it all out. So you guys can look it up if you want to. I just searched recommendations in the community guidelines. They do not like giveaways. They do not like promoting weight loss. They do not like a lot of the things that we are doing. Things, they call it clickbait or engagement bait, saying like, save this post for later, or link in bio, are all things that they're like really not liking. So if you guys want to read that, I would maybe read through it, see if you're doing any of the things on this list, because that might be why they're not pushing out your account as well.
So glad you added that. Kind of goes hand in hand too with hashtags. If you guys have a chunk of hashtags that are in your copy and paste that you've been using for a long time, that is almost like spam bot activity according to Instagram, because you're using the same ones. So apparently, like, we don't really know if shadow banning is a thing, but to keep it simple, if you're using the same hashtags on Instagram, they will kind of hide you and not show your content, because they don't want that. They don't want people doing like the spammy thing. So thanks for sharing that, Britt. I didn't know that. Super helpful. I'm on the VIP with Shalene Johnson tonight. I'll ask her if she has any other insights for that. And it's crazy, like, how many network marketers, including Beachbody coaches, are in this boot camp with me, and they're like, should we hashtag Beachbody? So let's talk about that for a second. The idea of a hashtag is to help you be seen by other people. Right now, nobody that is in the market for a workout routine is probably going to go, I'm going to go on Instagram and search the hashtag Beachbody. Probably not. Maybe someone who wants to coach would, but probably not still. Like, when's the last time you searched hashtag Beachbody, right? It's just all coaches who think that they should be hashtagging Beachbody or Shakeology or whatever. And that's why it's not getting seen by anyone outside of our network, because it's just all coaches using that. And so you don't want to use, hashtag Shakeology, hashtag Beachbody, because the idea of hashtag is to help you get new followers and people that will connect with you. So here is, actually, I will pull up Shalene's. I'm a huge slides person. Oh man, they didn't give us the slides. Okay, I take it back. You guys just have to listen then. They didn't put up the slides from last night yet. Let's make sure I went over everything.
Hey, Colleen, I have a question really fast.
Yes, ma'am.
So like, aesthetically on our Instagram page, and maybe I'm overthinking this, but should we still try to find some cohesiveness as far as what it looks like with a whole? Because I personally really like to see and share like different affirmations or prayers. Mm-hmm. So like, I feel like that would be me and how I could like attract people like me. But would I do like a quote and then a picture and then a quote and then a picture like that?
I'm so glad you said that, because I skipped what I was going to say about it. So she talked about, I just went past it, in 2017, it was all about professional photos. If you guys have been around for a long time, like Danette Anderson, Bonnie Engel, Lindsay Matway, they all kicked off like the professional photo shoots. I even did them, like it was just like this perfectly curated feed. And then we had the grids, right? With the exactly what Kiana was asking, like the perfect grid. The perfect coordinating tones, like just having pinks or just having purples. And she's like, right now, it's almost too perfect for people. She's like, they almost don't want the perfect curated feed. But there's also an it depends. If that's what you guys want to do and it works, freaking go do it. I even tested it by looking at I have some other friends who are big time, like millionaire clothing shop owners. Do you guys know Fashion Nova? Have you ever heard of that website? My friend owns that. And so I went to her Instagram. I'm like, let me see what she's doing. And so this is where I got my idea, and I was challenging myself, that she has a feature account where she posts daily positive thoughts. And I was like, oh, that's how she freaking grew her following to be like bajillions of people. So that was a side note. But her feed with I think it has a 1.1 million followers is a perfect grid. And that works for her. Raina is kind of on like a grid thing right now. I feel like it depends. If it's stressing you out and it's not bringing you joy and you're like, oh my God, like I want to stab my eyeballs out today because I have to do this thing in my grid, like maybe let that go a little bit. I can't really answer it for you exactly yes or no, but I guess my point is don't stress the grid. It doesn't, if it's aesthetically pleasing to you and it's part of your flow and what brings you joy, I say go and do it, but don't stress about it too much. Nikki and I were like doing some homework when she was here on coaches, and like Kelsey Crossan, Haley, and a couple other girls on her team have been doing this for a while. Christina Delgado has been doing it for a while, where like this year, like the white background thing with, you know, like a little quote on it. And it's not a perfect grid, but you can tell there's a little bit of a flow if you guys go study Haley's profile for a hot second. So for me, I even told Candace, I said the perfect curated feed for me right now, like in my own profile, was ruining all my joy. It was just like sucking the soul out of me. Love taking pictures, but sometimes that picture doesn't go with this. No. And if you're a mom, you can relate that sometimes we just don't have all the time in the world. I was like, I have to figure out how I'm going to make this fun for me. So play around with it, Kiana. I hope that was kind of like helpful in answering your question. Like, the grid
Yeah,
might work for you.
Yeah, no, it definitely helps. And I think that like I just need to, like you say, follow my joy, not overthink it, not stress it, and just have fun with it. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. And the cool thing is, like, let's say, that's why I was telling you guys the archive thing, because like if you do something for a week and you like look at it and you're like, okay, like I'm so upset right now. My feed, like, oh my God, just archive them. It's not going to be the end of the world. And it basically just kind of like takes the post away. It's not deleting it, but it will take it off your feed there. And it still lives, but it's just not on your feed. So, I just had another thought that I was going to say. I was going to say for Kiana and everyone, this is why I was saying what accounts do you guys like, and go to their feed and notice that I feel like 7 out of 10 of the pages I love to follow were not cohesive, were not perfect, but I still follow them. And like here I was like bending over backwards to try to have this perfect feed that I was just like, it's driving me crazy. Okay, hashtags. Oh yeah, sorry, 1 second. Shalene said the new aesthetic is really making the content for them versus about you. Is it share it? Is it shareable? Experiment with it. How do you respond to content? Also, content that does really well is unexpected content too. Like sometimes like, you know, you throw something up there that isn't expected. Sometimes those do well. Do you guys know Dude with a Sign? Brock's most shared post was one during the pandemic when the Dude with a Sign, he's genius, said, go make a sign that says what you're grateful for. And so Brock did the challenge. He did a sign and he said, I'm grateful for donuts. And it was just kind of like funny and unexpected because he's like the Instagram expert who shares all this Instagram stuff. And then he came on and had some fun and it was unexpected. And that was his most shared post. Kind of in relation to the grid and how it looks, another downfall to it is if it's too perfect with a grid, your followers, it's too predictable, they might get bored. They're like, oh, Colleen made a quote, she made a photo, and there's a transformation, and if I kept that grid going, I'm too predictable, and that's boring to a lot of people. So sometimes the predictability is a negative. But that's why I keep saying it depends. There's always one-offs. There's always different examples. Have you guys ever heard of the litmus test? This is like a really old, I do have the slides for this. I will share the screen. Candace, why are you saying kill me? I don't know what you're saying, but okay.
Because you said if we have organization or like a method to our madness, then they don't like it. So like, what the fuck, man?
But that's why I'm saying it depends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's great. This is great information. It's just like, really?
Here's a litmus test. So the litmus test is just for asking yourself some questions for making posts. Is this a message or image others would want to share? Does this image grab attention? What is the value in this post to others? Is this post generically consistent with my message? Is this content bright and light? Does this post benefit my target audience? Does this serve others in some way? Does it align with the promise of my bio? And so these are just some things to think about. We don't need to go on that. Post frequency, we all know that. How to access insights. Your first line must create curiosity. You guys know all about that. Okay, I think we're good. We talk about that enough. So she taught us some stuff for hashtags. And she says, the goal is to use 28. And the reason why she said 28, I mean, you can do 28 to 30. But if you use over 30, your post actually doesn't show at all and no hashtags show. So let's say like you do 30 and accidentally do 31, all the hashtags would go away. So she just kept it like rounded down a little bit so you don't get too close to 30. So this is the exercise we did. How to find your hashtags to use. Also, side note, make sure you consistently change these, maybe even visit them. And this is why it's important to have insights, because if 1,400 people discovered you from hashtags on the set that you used, that's pretty freaking good, right? But if you're using a hashtag set that isn't good because you're looking at insights, it might be time to switch something up. So write down your 5 topics related to your niche. A lot of us already know what that is, but maybe it's time to revisit that, right? Revisit, what are you excited to talk about right now? Because what I was talking about 7 years ago is a heck of a lot different than what I'm talking about right now. So you have your 5 topics. Then you're going to find 3 hashtags per topic. So for example, let's say motherhood, okay? So you want to find, for these 3 hashtags per topic, you want to find 3 hashtags that are in between 20,000 to 500,000 posts. So if you're ever wondering, which hashtag should I use? How many posts should they have on them? So if you find 3 hashtags per topic, there's 5 topics, that brings us to 15 hashtags. And when I get the slides, I can put them up on the team page if you want, but I really feel like I wanted to give you guys this today. Normally I make a presentation. See, this is why I have presentations. Yes, I'll say it again. So you have 5 topics related to your niche, and then you're gonna find 3 hashtags per topic. And for those 3 hashtags per topic, you want it to be 20,000 to 500,000 posts, meaning when you search a hashtag, you don't want it to have 1.2 million uses. You want it to have in between 20,000 to 500,000 posts. It's a good, you won't get as lost in the feed when you use those hashtags. Candace, you're gonna make it, I promise.
Colleen, can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
So I have been told, and I'm hoping maybe you can confirm this for me, if you use hashtags that are not actually about your post, it does worse. Like if it's a post about me working out and I'm hashtagging cornfields and dogs and all this stuff that's not in the post, it actually does worse. Is that correct?
It is correct. And there's a new feature that Shalene just told us about last night that, let's say I go to your post and you like have a picture of your workout and you hashtag cornfields. If I'm like, oh, that's annoying, I can report you for that. So, and Instagram also, I mean, this is actually, she didn't talk about this. This is a myth that came out a while ago, that there was like some technology that if you're posting about a dog and you write cornfield, Instagram knows that there's no cornfield on your dog picture. I don't know if that's true, but yes. So towards the end, I'll talk a little bit about like how many groups of hashtags to have and stuff like that. But let me finish helping you guys come up with your 28 first. And then once you know how to do that, then you can come up with as many groups as you want based on the images that you guys are posting. Okay, so now we have 15 hashtags because you're gonna find 3 hashtags per your 5 topics. Then you're gonna do 10 post-specific hashtags based on your post. So what, and this is the question that she asked, what would someone who's looking for this post be searching? So if people are looking for meal planning tips or postpartum or crystal hunting, I'm trying to think of like all the things that you guys do. I'm not as cool as some of you, but like if you're a new breastfeeding mommy or like what, like a desperate breastfeeding mom who needs help, she's probably gonna like search breastfeeding tips or something, you know? So you have to think about, based on the post you're making, what's in this picture, what's happening, come up with 10 post-specific hashtags, still the same rules, in between 20,000 to 500,000, come up with 10 of those. And you have to really put yourself in the shoes of the person on the other end of the line. What hashtags are these people searching? For example, one of the ones that Brock said that he sees a lot of people use is like wellness warrior. And he's like, who goes into Instagram and types in hashtag wellness warrior, right? No one's searching for that, but they might search for like wellness plan, wellness tips. And so whichever one has 20,000 to 500,000. So then now we're up to 25 posts because you had 15 from the first chunk we talked about that were about your 5 topics, 10 post-specific hashtags, and then do 3 industry hashtags. So these are going to be the bigger ones. Okay, so it could be, I wrote big name, simple forms, simple terms. And so those can be in the millions. So then what you want to do is, now that you know that exercise of how to find hashtags, and you'll have to spend some time doing this, you can create in your notes section 4 different groups. And so if I'm talking about mindset, it's not going to have anything to do with like motherhood necessarily. It might, but for that particular post, I would want to have a group of my hashtags that have to do with motherhood. And so I'd have 3 big ones that are in the millions. I would have 10 that have to do with that specific post, hashtag potty training troubles, whatever. And then the 15 have to do with my 5 topics. And you can just interchange them, play with them, spend some time fixing them, looking at your insights and seeing. I won't waste our time, but I wasted my own time by going into the Instagram Bootcamp Facebook group, and I spent a lot of time looking at people's results in just, we're only on day 4 of this bootcamp, to see from the hashtags, like it's insane from this exercise, people consistently just this week using those kind of hashtags and these, you know, viral posts, shareable content kind of stuff, the type of engagement and interaction and shares that people are getting, like literally mind blowing. And then here's the other thing. You're not going to make one post, just like you don't do one workout and you have abs. Like, you're not going to just do one post and be viral and you got it and you know your hashtags and it's all going to work. Like, there have definitely been some flops for me. So just be a little open-minded. Shalene's thing is like, try anything for 30 days. You might have to keep working on it. But you know, they're the ones that study it as far as growth goes. So today she's talking to us about engagement. And then I think she's going to talk to us about reels and stuff tomorrow. So the industry hashtags be post specific or general. So it would want to do with your post still. So if you posted like a transformation, typically I would avoid like before and after because it has millions. But if I have a transformation post for one of those 3, she said in the millions, but I'm thinking more like 1 million, not like 29 million, not 90 million. So, yes. Okay. And I can't even tell you guys, like, I haven't really changed anything other than sharing one repost, playing around with that. And I've had more fun finding reposts and coming up with that content than I have my own content over this last week. I personally have just fallen in love with like people's drawn illustrations, and so hopefully this can bring back some joy for you too. So I keep forgetting that the repost app is awesome. because I don't have to save posts on Instagram and then go back and find them later to then copy it and, you know, repost it. I can just literally, oh, I like this post, hit the 3 dots, copy the link and put it in repost, and it saves all the posts that I would like to reshare for me. So you guys can either create collections or use the repost app. I'm still kind of learning my habits and stuff like that. So I've been going back and forth. So I don't know if I'll have the answers to questions, but I think I tried to answer them. It's just called Repost and it's blue. Has a blue.
Can I ask a question because I missed it?
Yes.
About the reposting, did you say that the point of this is to repost someone else's post, or can you recreate it in your own style? Or is the point of it to grab theirs?
It's either. So the only main reason that it's ideal to use someone else's content is because the look of it, and like, because when I go to a post, I don't just say, "Ooh, I like that one, I'm going to share it." I'm also like, "Ooh, I like that one, and 95,000 people like this post." So clearly it has that social proof that people are liking it. And so you can create it yourself or you can repost it. For me,
if it goes with your theme, then you're like, cool, this is perfect. But if it doesn't, you're like, maybe I'll just change this one a bit and still share the content and give them credit.
Right. Yeah. So I definitely think like giving credit is definitely key. Because I would feel like a total D-bag if I like took someone's idea and didn't give them credit. But again, remember, like if I'm trying to recreate something, it might not socially proof do as well because I'm testing something new. So
Yeah.
I feel like doing both of those is awesome and playing around with it. Like I have to think of it from the standpoint of what's duplicatable. And there's a lot of coaches that maybe don't have that creative flow, or they don't know like how to create pretty images, or they don't have the time to do it. And so the repost app is just so nice because they can literally take social proof, something that they love, that they're already sharing to their stories, that is already being shared, and use that content while giving credit. So you can do either, Candace.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what's nice about the repost app, and that's why it's kind of like a I'm usually very anti-bandwagon, you guys know. Like I don't want to do what everyone else is doing, but I also want to grow my Instagram. So it's not like the worst thing in the world to be doing. I didn't really understand like the repost thing before. It's time saving. It's already socially proven that it works. I also get to steal some of their hashtags. And the other question, I'm surprised no one asked, did the hashtags go in the comments or in the post? For it to perform well, it does not matter, but to be prettier on your feed, put it in the comments. And the key is you make your post and you immediately post your hashtags. Don't post it an hour later, immediately. So before you make your post, have your hashtags ready in your notes, copy, paste, and put it into the comments.
Colleen, is it 28 to 30 per post?
Yes, correct. And I think that a lot of like the homework, if you do your homework, it will help, because I've been very lazy about hashtags because I just got so discouraged with social media that I haven't been doing 28 to 30. And rather than stressing about like, oh my God, I have to write all 28 hashtags, what am I going to come up with right now? If I do my homework, I'll have them, and I just kind of have to like consistently stay in it. Shelby said, would it be too much to post a pic of ourselves and repost something daily? It depends. I'm gonna pull a Shalene Johnson. Like people were asking these questions and she's like, it depends, you know? She's like, test it, play with it. If it works, then you're gonna be like, oh my God, I'm so glad I tried this. And if it doesn't, then we learn and, you know, whatever. And the more, like, if you're open to reposting and you love this idea and you're like, this is gonna make me wanna do more, like it's already being shared and you're gonna show up on social media more, to me, that's a better thing. Brendan Burchard shares 4 times a day. Granted, he has a team who's taking his content and his quotes, and he makes 4 posts a day, and he's been doing it for almost like 8 years between Facebook and Instagram. And he's like, I make 4 posts a day, you know? And I'm like, when Candace and I went to HPX, we were so on fire that we were like, F it. I want to post twice today. I'm going to do it. So I say go for it, girl. And then then the cool thing about that is like, if you don't show up for a day because you're doing a social media detox, high five to you. Those other posts that you did all week because they were awesome and got you some engagement, some follows, some likes, some shares, like it's okay, you know? I have to kind of help myself to stop wanting to repost, but at the same time, I almost want to just be like, F it, it's so much fun to me. We spend so much time sharing people's content. Someone share my stuff, okay? All right, we are way over time, super sorry. I still have 2 more trainings to do. She's gonna do engagement and a couple other topics. And then I'm also gonna be in her VIP group starting in November. So I'll get stuff daily. So I hope you guys had fun. If you have questions, you can always post them in the team page and I'm happy to answer. I'll talk to you guys later.